Hello and welcome to another video. Let's go ahead and get started on origami. In this particular case, we're going to be moving from a flat shape into a three-dimensional form. Now yours is going to be much larger than this, but let's go ahead and discuss origami and actually talk about the paper material that we're going to be working with for our little sculptural pieces. Now Japanese origami is a traditional piece of artwork that comes from Japan. And most of the time, traditional origami paper comes in packets like this, where you have a series of paper that has a number of patterns on it. And the pattern is only going to be on one side of the paper more often than not. Now, this is a piece of origami paper that I've gone ahead and separated from that package. Now, in this particular case, I went ahead and cut it, and it's got a few folds in it already. But as you can see, it's very, very thin, it's flexible, and it holds its folds very, very well. Now, these creases are very important. You should always make sure that your creases are very visible and very clear and nice and crisp. Always go over them either with your nail, or a ruler, or a marker, or something like that to make sure that your lines are nice and crisp. Now, let's go ahead and talk about paper for a second. Now, even though origami paper is the most traditional paper to use, it doesn't mean that you're limited with just using origami paper. Now this is an example of other types of paper. This particular paper is very thick. You can hear the difference. You can see the difference in the way that it folds. It's very springy when you push your fingers against it, by comparison to this paper, which, even though it does spring, it's not quite so ready to snap into place. Now, another example of things that you could use, this is an example of a very thick cardstock. Now, even though this is really, really good for other projects, this is very, very thick, and as you can see, it's very difficult to fold. While you can fold it, it's not exactly recommended. You see how this cracks and breaks? That happens with thicker paper. Now, other papers that could be used is an example of wrapping paper or even tissue paper. What you're going to be using is the standard notebook paper. Now, with standard notebook paper, you have one bit of a challenge. Notebook paper tends to be rectangular versus the square that you need for most origami. Now, due to this fact, we're going to go ahead and start by making this square, or a rectangle, into a square. So this is a use of shape. You want to take this rectangle and convert it. The easiest way to do this is to take this top edge of your paper and line it up with the side of your paper like so. So you want to take it and make sure that the fold is coming directly from the corner, and you're lined up exactly to the side of your paper, and press down. This is going to make a big triangle. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut right along this line. Now once you have cut along this line, what you're going to be left with is a spectacular little triangle, and when you open it up, it turns into that square that you need. This brings you to step 2. So even though you already have this line here, your next step is going to take this corner and line it up with this other side. And you're going to want to go ahead and make a fold going from one corner to the next corner. Once you have your fold done, you're going to make sure that you're coloring your pattern on the inside of this space. So where it's folded on the inside of these folds, this is the side that you want to put your pattern on, not on this side. It's very important you put it on the right side of your paper, or you're going to run out of the space, and it's not going to be able to be transferred when you finish your origami piece. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Now at step 3, what you're going to do is you're going to flip your paper over. This is important, again, so this side should have your pattern on it. So when you're going to flip your paper over, you're going to go ahead and start folding it sideways. As this is a square, you can call it a hot dog or hamburger, however you want to call it, but you're just folding it in half to make sure that your line is going right through the middle of your project. Now for step 4 of the project, what you're going to be able to be doing once you have your line here is you're going to turn it sideways, and you're going to go ahead and fold it again. Now, this should be making a sort of plus with the crossing of your folds, and if you did it correctly, it should be able to stand up this way, and already this is a form. As you can see, it's more three-dimensional than it was before. It has shadows, it has light, it has space underneath. It's a three-dimensional object. Now, if you did it correctly, it should be able to either stand, or if you flipped it up this way, where the bottom is facing up, it should be able to spin. So as I mentioned before, you want it to be able to stand up like this with the pattern on the top. Now, if the pattern is facing downwards and you're able to spin it like so, then that means that your pattern is on the wrong side of the project, and you're going to want to redo your folds so that the folds that go downwards are on the side with the pattern. So on this point, we're on step 5. Now on step 5, what we're going to be wanting to do is you're going to be wanting to go ahead and push your fingers down in here and squeeze. This is going to make a sort of opening like this, and you're just going to push it down into the middle. And this is going to make it go all along the same folds that you already have. You're going to be able to press down so that it makes a much smaller square. Okay, for step 6, we're going to go ahead and take the bottom edge, not the top edge where it's firm, but this bottom edge that's open. You guys see that right there? So you can take this bottom edge and you're going to line it up with this center fold. So you're going to line it up just like this. You're going to do that to all the different sides where it's open. Again, you want to fold it on the side with the openings, where you can access the different papers, not the side that's solid. Now, you're going to flip it over and you're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and show you each step for this part individually so you can see all of the sides go together, and it turns into this sort of kite shape. This kite is very important for finishing up your project, so make sure that you're getting this done. Again, you're going to open it up. It should be flat like this, and you're going to go ahead and fold it flat with the line on the bottom edge lining up with the center. If you cannot access these individual pieces of your pages, then you need to go ahead and try to fold it again, because you probably have folded from this top edge to where it's sealed. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step. So once you already have these folded right here, step 8 is very simple. You're going to go ahead and fold this down. So again, for step 8, you're going to go ahead and fold this down, and you're going to crease it very, very well. Okay, after that, we're going to go ahead and go to step 9. Now, step 9 is very tricky. It's very important that you have access to these little sections that I spoke of before when you were first doing your folds to make this kite shape. This line right here is actually very important, as this is what's going to allow you to continue the fold that you need. So make sure you fold it this way, flip it over, fold it again, just to make sure you have a nice crease there. Now what we're going to do is this is the trickiest step on this, and you're just going to push your thumb right in the center. You're going to take these outside edges and you're going to squeeze them towards the middle. And then you're going to just turn your fold the opposite direction, pulling this up to the top. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this on the other side so you can watch slowly how I do this fold. And I'm going to show you very slowly, so please pay attention. Now, you're going to lift this up. You're going to push to the top, right up until this part folds right here. You're going to squeeze right towards the center. You might need to pull, give this a little bit of pull. And it's going to push these down towards the middle. I'm going to pull it up to the top and press down, so that you have these two openings right here. You're going to go ahead and press down just like that. And that's the end of this step. Now, once you have already done that fold, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking this bottom outside edge, and you're going to be lining it up with this middle line. Just like this. Again, you're going to take this bottom outside edge, and you're going to line it to the middle line. And you're going to do that all the way around. So you're going to do these two, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the other side. So once again, it's going to be flat, just like this. You're going to do folding it in from the outside edge to line it up with the center. And you're going to do that all the way around your project. It's going to look kind of like this. Okay, so this is the last step of the project. What you're going to do is you're going to open it up, just like this, so it looks kind of like a weird dog. See the ears? Okay, and you're going to take this bottom flap and you're going to push it up towards the top. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. You take this bottom flap, push it up all the way to the top. Now, when you open it at this point, you can go ahead and adjust it just a little bit. Give it a tug. And the very last thing you need to do is go ahead and just fold down the wings and the head. And you have your origami crane.